Oh, this one. Okay. Oh, okay. So that goes. Uh, Hello, everybody. We're gonna start in a few minutes. We'll start in a few minutes, so you guys can start finding your space. Hey. So can you see? Is the audio there going to the streaming? Are you on? Huh? Okay. So if you can, I think there is going to be one person online. At least they said that on the meetup.com they'll be online. So if you, all right. All right, shall we get started? Again, everybody hear me well? And how about, can you see my screen? All right, sounds good. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming. Now we are here for Ruby Tuesday KL 109. And this event is brought to you by Engineers by and Ruby KL Meetup, Ruby KL Community. And today venues, oh, hold on. You can find us in all these places, Meetup, Facebook, GitHub, Slack, and Discord. Today's venue, food and drinks are sponsored by our friends at Cater Sport, Singapore's largest online catering platform. Woo! Thank you. Thank you guys for organizing. We were here about a year ago. They had just moved to this office. So it was a little bit different than what we see today. All right. A note to introduce myself. There's a few new faces here that I haven't seen before. So my name is Helio. I'm one of the organizers of the Ruby Malaysia group. And I have my friend here, Tristan, which is also one of the organizers. Tristan, want to say a word? No. Yeah, this gentleman over here is doing Ruby meetup in KL for just like, I don't know, 10 years. I've been here only for the past couple months. So just to put in perspective, All right. For the online folks, I think there's one person that told on meetup.com that they will be attending online. Just a reminder, your profile name, your profile picture, and your comments are going to show up on streaming. So keep that in mind. We abide by the Ruby language, Ruby community code of conduct. You can find on the URL. Remember to treat each other nicely. And without further ado, let's get into the talk of the night. Hotwire et al. Okie dokie. So let me get started now. All right. Can you guys all see that? Oh, it's coming. It's a little delay from time to time. There we go. Hotwire et al. Again, my name is Helio. I've been doing software development for about 23 years. In the past 13, I've been working primarily with Ruby on Rails. Those are the links where you can find me on the internet. Here's the agenda of my talk. I'll talk a little bit about my goal with this presentation and with this demo that I put together for today. My strategy and my execution. I'll talk a little bit about Hotwire. I'll do some demos, some coding, and wrap up questions, and I'll ask for some volunteers. I think I forgot to put the slide to ask for volunteers, but we can talk at the end of the talk. So my primary goal, there's a couple of things that kind of motivated me to put this talk together. The first and foremost that I don't need to talk anymore is because I had to come up with something to present today here in the meetup. So I was thinking on these, and also I had a few slides about talking about Ruby and Max, the creator of the language, had two keynotes at RubyConf Taiwan and RubyConf Taiwan and Thailand, Bangkok and Taipei. And he was talking about the 30 years of Ruby. Ruby is completing 30 years this year or last year, something like that. And he was explaining what he wants, how he sees the past, the lessons learned, and how we can make Ruby survive for the next 100 years. And he talks about a couple of things, and some of those things are kind of related to some of the things that we are trying to do here at the Ruby KL group. In this talk, it's kind of a consequence of that. But the first thing here is to study the fundamentals of Hotwire and then apply them in a very simple use case. Try to make it beginner friendly, but also it's about learning the fundamentals. Sometimes I like to learn things from the fundamentals and not for the application, because then once you know the fundamentals, everything kind of falls into place. At least that's how I prefer to learn some of these things. Although I worked with Ruby on Rails for 13 years, this was the first time that I poke around Hotwire and things. So you're seeing the very first Hotwire code that I've ever written before. So, and my goal was to promote it along with Ruby to university students. There's a long discussion in the community about junior developer jobs, about there is not a lot of senior people, and I was like, and trying to go back to Matt's suggestions and how we make Ruby survive for the next 100 years, I was internalizing that and trying to look to myself and see what I can do to help. In my one of the things that I can do is prepare this talk, make it beginners friendly, and then maybe I'm gonna go talk to some university students. So here we go. So in order to get these talks together, I created a strategy, and my step was the application that I got. I'll talk a little bit further. Was the traditional Rails blog tutorial. So what I was gonna do is I'm gonna go through all these steps of the Rails blog tutorials, which is very simple. And if you work with Ruby on Rails, you're gonna recognize a lot of things there, and it's gonna be very simple. It's very step by step. It's very beginners friendly. Then I'm going to style it because I'll show you how unstyled and styled look like. And then study Hotwire, the concepts, and then apply those concepts to the Rails blog tutorial. And then I'll compare the two, right? So we're going to see how a typical Rails full page reload, everything is a HTTP request and response look like compared to Hotwire, right? And then I will organize these in a tutorial session-like structure and see if I can find a volunteer to try it out. As a matter of fact, I did find a volunteer before this talk. He was supposed to be my he's supposed to be the co-speaker here today, but I think he was a little busy and he couldn't help me much on that. But I'm still gonna make him. I'm still gonna co-present a talk with him in the next couple months. And he is my execution, right? So, and I'm gonna wait the Wi-Fi goes a little bit. My execution. There we go. I created, and at this point, I started doing. I created a plan. The plan was all those steps, and now I'm going to start executing. Right? I need to prepare the demo that I need to do to present and to talk to you guys here. So I created a repo on GitLab. I decided to use GitLab. I don't remember for whatever reason. I created an issue with all the step by step. It breaks down those steps, and I started running through the Rails blog tutorial. Just step by step. That was the baseline that I was going to show the full page reload versus the Hotwire. And then I kept updating my stats as I was moving along. And then I studied and set up Hotwire on the demo. And then I wrote this deck. And here I am. So let's look at it. So this is the issue that I created. So let me kind of let's look into that. So this is for those of you who are not very familiar with Hotwire, with GitLab. That's what GitLabs look like. And then I created an issue I called the Hotwire Rails blog. And these are my phases, right? This is my strategy, right? The first one is to actually get the blog application, the simple blog application running. And then I was like, okay, after I get the running, I'm going to style it. Just an update. Once I did that, I decided to do it after the Hotwire setup. So we're still doing the prep for my Hotwire study. And I defined my acceptance criteria, which is just based on how the application looks like. And then set up Hotwire on article. And then allow user to create and edit articles using Hotwire, or using Turbo Frames. And then I was like, oh, maybe I want to have the two things side by side in the same branch, the same repo, and then I can just have, I don't need to change branches or anything. But I decided doing two separate branches. And to some extent, looking back, that was a bad idea. And then I had to style it because I postponed the styling. I postponed this phase, right? And then if I look back, that was not a good idea to start it after. It was a little duplication of work. And then the last one is allow the articles to be broadcast between to be broadcasted after the CRUD actions, right? So the typical WebSockets, tab, you do things on one tab, it shows up in another tab. So that was kind of the second phase. The third phase, which is the one that I didn't do yet, is the comments. So we only have Hotwire and the articles. And then as I was going through these, I was kind of checking the boxes and doing. And the main idea to organize these in a issue is because if any of you guys volunteer to do it, this is what the steps that you're going to go through. But anyway, moving on. So that's kind of what I did. So as you can see here, I went through everything. Not everything, but I got all the turbo frame and turbo streams going. So the demo is going to look a little nice, maybe. But we'll demonstrate the WebSocket working, but I did not have time to go into the comments. But even that was not without some struggles. I felt some pressure at the beginning until I reached the Hotwire section. I was still doing a very simple Rails blog tutorial, and I was like, the meetup is coming, is next week. I must have time. I don't have an option. That's one of the reasons why I pushed the styling, because if I don't have time, maybe the style, I don't need to do it. I want to show the Hotwire, the WebSockets, and that kind of stuff. And I ran into some edge cases on the Hotwire side. Some of them I fixed, not in all the branches, but anyway, that's a minor detail. And it was probably more painful and more time consuming to do the style at the end after all the Hotwire work. So what about Hotwire, right? So we are here to talk about Hotwire. So that's kind of a little bit of, let me talk a little bit about Hotwire, right? So Hotwire is the Rails way of HTML over the wire, and it has three major components: Turbo, Stimulus, and Strata. I'm not going to talk too much about these. I want to get into the demo, into the coding, and see what I have there. But Turbo is basically all your HTML over the wire. Stimulus is like a tiny JavaScript that just finish up all the presentation at the browser level. Some JavaScript to do some stuff that you must run in the browser. It can be server-side. And Strata, which is the mobile stuff. We're not going to talk about anything here, but anyway, maybe next month I can wrap up this blog post inside the Strata, this blog demo with Turbo, with Strata, and I demo the three things together. Maybe next month, maybe next year, I don't know. The future will tell. So Turbo. Now let's dive into Turbo. Turbo, there are these three main components: drive, frames, and streams. Drive is only about navigation. And remember, this is about making Rails single-page application-like, right? SPA-like. You click something, instead of doing a full-page reload, I'm just going to update a little thing, a little component, a little piece of my HTML. And Turbo Drive is all about navigation. Turbo Frames is where you get your page and you break down specific components in specific areas where that area is going to be updated when you do some action. The rest of the page is going to stay the same way it is. And streams is nothing more than WebSocket. If you've been around for a long time, you've heard WebSockets way before Rails existed. I learned about WebSockets before I even became a web developer, more than, I don't know, 15 years ago. So the technology has been around for a long time, and now Rails is bringing some support for us to use in our Rails application. And Turbo Native, I'm not going to talk much about it, but Turbo. And Stimulus is, like I said, is a helper tool, is a library that kind of finishes up the JavaScript part of it, and the things that needs to run in the browser and all that kind of stuff. So the documentation, right? So we need to read the documentation first, right? So all the documentation from Turbo, and so Stimulus and Strata, they all organized in these three sections. There's a handbook with some documentation for you to read and more details, the installation and source code, which is just a link to GitHub. So let's go look at the documentation and see what they look like. So if you go into your hotwire.dev, you are going to see the page over there. There's a bunch of stuff. This is an interesting screencast. I definitely recommend you do it. I guess maybe next month what I'm going to do is to maybe redo this thing here. I think it feels like this is a better demo for Turbo stuff, but not the one that I picked to do it. But anyway, I recommend you to watch this screencast, which is narrated by our friend DHH. And so there's Turbo, Stimulus. This is the kind of official documentation, right? There's a bunch of tutorials about this. I try to go to through the official documentation and see how it is. So if you go into Turbo, that's what I was mentioning, that all these three things, Turbo is similarly structured, the documentation is kind of the same. Handbook, reference, community, source code, and then you have handbook, installation, source. If you go to Stimulus, it's the same, has some information, the handbook with details, installation, source, kind of the same way. So as you go through all these and you keep learning one by one, at least the documentation is going to start looking similar to each other, and you kind of follow the same ways to go to this documentation and learn these things. All right, back to my presentation. So turbo concept, right? So this is kind of a little bit of what I mentioned, and this is just a summary of what a high-level summary of what is kind of in the documentation, the base documentation. Turbo drive is about accelerate links and form submissions, which is the old turbo links. Turbo frames, now you decompose your page in independent context. So you have an area of my page, of my HTML page, and that's the one where my frame is going to be around. If I do some action here, only that part of your code is going to be replaced, not everything else. And streams is changed over the WebSocket. That's pretty much it. And native, it's about mobile, and we are not going to get there today. I'm not going to talk about anything today. Now, the good part. Do you still think the good part is the demo, the coding, or reading the documentation, learning something new? So, okay, that is a complicated question. So let's go to the good part of it, which is some demo and some coding. Remember, I picked a very beginner's friendly tutorial. I want to do something very simple. And if I go to a university, present these to university students that are soon to be junior developers, I wanted to start with something that it's commonly used in the community and also simple, right? So there is nothing more simple than guide Ruby way to get started, create your own blog post. So let's look into that, and I'm going to show you real quick here what that's about, right? So if you go to that anchor tag in the HTML, that's what it is, right? So this is kind of showing Rails, kind of teach you the core concepts of Rails, right? Rails new blog, the blog, your file structure. There is like an alien here, but let's skip that. All the things that we are used to when we're creating a Rails application, right? And then you run Rails server, and then what do you see? You see that page. So I went through all these steps one by one and looked at these again. I don't think I learned Rails this way, but anyway, it was an interesting exercise as well. And then you see it starts showing you the routes, and then you see it explains you a little bit of how the routes work, the URL, and so on and so forth. And then it creates a simple controller. It doesn't use the scaffolding. It just creates the controller, and you put it this, and then you create a view page. And then it goes very step by step, showing the basics of Rails, which is what I would say someone at university is kind of learning new technology would go through. Would find that process going through the concepts that the MVC concepts and the core base building blocks of Rails. So I went through all that. That's kind of what my blog post is going to look like. I didn't need to read MVC in you. I learned MVC, I don't know, 25 years ago, way too long. It creates a model, very simple, and then it shows you what's going on. And then database migration, explain you the migration. You run db migrate, and anyway, so I'm going to skip here. It's kind of and then you see, you create a blog post from that, and then you refresh the page, and then explains when you do view, you need to do save, actually insert the record in the database. Anyway, very, very beginners friendly, and so that was not a question. And then it shows the code action. So let me kind of skip down here. I don't need to talk too much about these. We are here about the Hotwire, not about the Rails block. Let me see if there is anything else here that you see. And then at the end, you already have like a CRUD controller with index, show, new, and create. No, delete is not here yet. Some validation. Let me see. I guess that's it for the Rails blog tutorial. So that's kind of what I run. I think in the last, there is a couple sections that the very final sections, some of them I skipped. Oh, there is one that talks about, you see, that's how unstyled look like. This is actually different. This screenshot is outdated. It's not how it looks if you do exactly like it's shown here. I didn't do into concerns. I don't want to deal with that. But anyway, that was my baseline. So let me move on here to my next one. So now let's look into what that tutorial gives to you, right? So let's look into localhost 2009. We'll create some articles. We're going to create some comments. And we're going to look at as plain and simple the way the tutorial gives to you in a very lightweight styling that I did. So let's get into that now. Okie doke. So this is what I have. This is it. And oops, that's how it looks like. So if you go to those tabs, that's what it creates. You don't see, you see there? It's probably gonna mess up my anyway. So I created an article. You see, that's kind of the basics of the article, unstyled, very, very simple. I can edit this article, and how about now? And update it, and then I can go back, and then I create a new article. You see, everything here is a page reload. New article. Everything here is a page reload. I don't care what I'm writing. This status is something that the blog shows you, but I don't mess around with that too much. I'm not going to get into that. And then I created an article, and then here I can create a comment. Helio, this is a comment, and this is a random comment. Looks like my daughter typed. My daughter types well. My son typed something. So new article, and then you can edit that article. New article edited. Everything here is the typical Rails, full page reload, full HTTP request and response, form submit, plain and simple. That's it. So now, going back here, I think the next style, let's see. Okay, now let's look at this style. So I'm not sure if, raise your hand here if you heard about getskeleton.com. Has anybody ever heard about getskeleton.com? Okay, anyway, that's kind of a little bit of the CSS boilerplate that I use for these demos. That's also what I use on my blog, so I know a little bit about it. I've been using that. It's very, very, very simple CSS boilerplate that just gives you the basics, and we'll see now how the blog is going to look like with that. So then it looks a lot better. If I do, okay, it's coming. So now if I refresh my page, that's sorry, that's not it. If I refresh my page, that's how it looks like. The article like that is a little nicer compared to before, right? So the comments are here. I can destroy the comments. But anyway, it just looks a little nicer than the other one. And my Wi-Fi is going to come back. What is that? What screen is that? Oh, there you go. It's an old one. Anyway, now if I create an article, it looks a little nice, right? New article. Styled with getskeleton.css. And then that's that. I can edit. And I can comment. It's still the same Rails full page application, but now a little bit styled. All right. Let's see if there is something kind of cool coming. There we go. Now it's showtime. So now we're going to get into the setting up frames and streams on these blog posts, which is a very simple use case, and then we'll see the difference between the two. All right. Sorry, that's not it. Which one is this one? This one. Okay, I pressed the wrong thing. Okay, all right. I have my thing running here, and I just changed the branch here, and everything reloads, right? Okay, so now the first thing that happened different is that the new article is lazy loaded here. And as far as frames goes, what is going to happen here is this article is going to be created without a full page reloaded, and it's going to show up over here. So new article with frames. This is a new. The blog posts have like a very dummy validation on the body to be 10 articles. Every single time I create an article without 10 characters, I'm like, man, I need to remove that. I don't need that validation of 10 characters. But anyway, so now if you create these, you didn't notice, right? Everything localhost is very easy to see. But if we look at browser tabs, let me see if I can. If you look at here in the network tab, okay, Sam, let me clear this out. Let me see if we can see here, new article with more than 10 characters and created. So what happens here, what you can see here is that, let me see where I can see that. Let me see if I remember what is that. So I think you can see all the way to the body here, something, turbo frame, something, turbo request ID. So I think somewhere around request and response, you can see that what came back from the server was a turbo stream action append to the article, which is the new article. So this is a new article with a different title, and then I'm going to make this the same. So if we make this, you see that what came back, this is the new article with different title. So this is not kind of doing a full page reload, it's just making one single request and updating this thing here. I wanted to prepare in the spirit of making these tutorial simple like the Rails blog, I kind of wanted to kind of show a little bit of what it takes for you to go from one code to another. But I have here on my on GitHub desktop a little bit of those changes. So these are the changes that I need to do Hotwire step number 1. And you see here, I did this CSS later. But anyway, this is not kind of fully organized fashion to show you guys, but this is what it takes to go from the article being a full page reloaded to being a turbo frame. So let me see here what the controller, right? This is just, I'm just adding stuff. So this is a little JavaScript stimulus controller to just reset the form. Without this one here, this is what, I don't have, let me see if I can do that. So if I comment these out here, where I am, this. If I comment this stimulus controller, what's going to happen is this. Let's do that, which is the file reset form controller. I mean, from the name you guys can guess, right? The reset theme controller. If I remove this thing out, what's going to happen is once I create a new article, this stays over here. And the way that that plays out is this. On the article form, it is a little bit of the stimulus. That's where the stimulus kind of finish up your process inside the browser to make something looking a little better. But basically, this is what that does. On the form submit, you're gonna run this method, this stimulus controller to just reset the form. So that's how, after the form submit, and there's something here, submit end to submit end. That's your life cycle of that component. You're gonna call that reset method. So that's kind of what that does. Let me see what else I did here. These, I think I just moved it to a partial. Let me see what else. Yeah, here is just the stimulus. This is where the turbo frames magic starts. So in order for you to do the article creation, you need to create this turbo stream ERB. And what happens is turbo stream append articles. That's the div of your HTML where you're going to append a new article. And then you see, I think the edit here is as well. So I think the edit follows the same way. So if I'm editing here, so let's make sure if I can, let's see if we can see that. Edited again. So if you edit, so here, let me see the headers, still go to the turbo request, but the response back, it redirects to the page and then you reload the page. So going to the server, it does the request, but coming back, it tells you to redirect back to the whole page. That's kind of these blogs. We're going to see these a little bit different in the turbo streams. Anyway, going back to the code here, let me see if there is anything else interesting. So here there is an interesting thing in this article index. The article index is where it shows this whole index here, which is where you needed a turbo frame tag new article. Oh, this is the, let me see if there is actually something interesting here. No, I think, let me see. Oh, no, here is the one, right? The new article is the one that has a turbo frame tag, and this, and this one, let me see. Oh, the show as well, right? The show a little bit for the destroy and for the edit. Anyway, there's not too. I didn't organize this code very well to kind of show and explain in details to you guys, but anyway, we're looking into that now. So let me see what comes next. All right. So next we have streams, right? So now we want to do the WebSocket thing, and then we go from one type to another. So let's get into that now. So I am going to check that out. Oh, okay, all right, sounds good. So now we have the, so everything stays the same, right? So let me kind of delete some of these articles. And some of these are wrapped in a turbo frame, not fully implemented, not as good as it gets, but what I could get to show to you guys here today. So now here is where the turbo streams are going to come into place. And I think if we refresh these, we're going to see that now we have these guys. This is the cable, and it keeps making ping. Oh, the ping is not working, so I don't know what's going on. So, but this is the WebSocket. This is the connection that's going, and here's where you can do the broadcasting. So we can start by doing Rail C and then article. Let me make sure that I do here so you guys see what's going there. Article, new title. This is a title. This is from Rail C. Body. This is from Rail C. And I'm going to do that. I have not created a.save. This is from Rail C. So this is like it's really broadcasting from the server back to the browser, right? So and the same thing happened if I deleted article.last.destroy. Yeah, it goes away from here. And then you see here, this is where you get. Let me see if that's the one that we want to see that when the article was created. You see, this is from Rail C. This is the WebSocket receiving something from the server and putting the HTML. And then the other one is the, where is it? Somewhere here, it should say, you see action, remove it. And then this is action, action append. So these branch already have the turbo streams. I'm going to show you a little bit of the code on that later. But now here, if I go from the tab, this is from the browser. This is from the browser. And if we see here, so now we got, so let me see what this is. No, the poster, headers. So this is my turbo request. I think somewhere here on my cable. Oh, in this case, there is an interesting thing there. As you go to the tutorial from the turbo frames, if you don't comment out one specific line of code there that you did in the prior branch for frames, the article shows twice here. I'm going to talk about a little bit about that when I show the code. But now this is where you do the cool thing, where you go open two tabs, right? So this is an old one. So right now we see these, right? So let's destroy here, and then it goes away from here, deleted, the same way. So basically what it's doing here is like one tab is changing something, gets to the server, and then the server broadcasts that to all the WebSocket connections. And if I destroy it, and then if I add it, the same way, right? So all these working. And so you see I updated, and now there is hello there here. So if I go back and I create from one tab to another tab, it goes from here, and the same way, right? So if you create from one place, this is just, I mean, there's no magic, nothing here, it's just WebSocket, and this is like the Rails way of doing WebSocket and allowing you to do these things without a full page reload, right? So, and without also pooling, right? So my coding here doesn't have a JavaScript timer that calls the server, that calls an API. Oh, there's something new for me. No, there's not. It's fully a WebSocket. The two browsers have a connection to the server, and then everything that happens in there gets broadcasted back. All right. So that's kind of it. Let me see if there is any. Oh, okay. So now let's look at this code, right? Let me see if there is anything else here that I want to show you guys. No, this is it. So now let's look at a little bit of that code, right? So let me show you here, and then let me see. Okay, the last ones I had to do these, fix a bunch of merging conflicts. It was painful to do the styling later. This is an interesting thing about Turbo. So you need these in a few edge cases. If you have a link inside a Turbo frame, you need these to know how to redirect back if you perform some actions. Anyway, here is the, let me see. Oh, Hotwire step one is the frames. We looked at this code. And then here is now how you go from the turbo frame to turbo stream. The article get these callbacks, right? After I create, after destroy, and after update, I want to broadcast to the articles, which is like a global index page where all the articles are. The article now here needs this DOM ID because when you're updating, I need to find exactly that div and update that entire div with the new content. This is where you need this is what you need to comment it out for the page where you're creating a submit. If you leave that to stream, let's see what happens if we change this, right? So now I'm going to change this. This is from the turbo frames commit, right? So remember that we created here, we created this turbo stream ERB, we append that, right? So for turbo streams, you need to comment that out. If you don't do that, this is what's going to happen. They screen, so let me refresh the page here. So the screen where you are typing the new article, what do you guys think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen in this tab different than this tab? No, it's going to happen twice. It's going to show twice. Oh, it didn't. So let me see. So, but basically, because the form submission already put that folder, that field in here. Did I save my file? Yes, I did save it. Oh, it didn't. But anyway, I was maybe I'm not getting my, okay, so oh, okay, I think I need to, maybe my spring here is not working fully. But basically, if you don't do that, you get the tab that creates that action. It gets two of the same article. One from your form submission, the other one from your WebSocket connection. Because both tabs have a WebSocket connection listening what's happening in the server. So let me refresh my page again, make sure that I get everything refreshed. So third time is the charm. Does that make sense to you guys? Third time is the charm. Okay. So I'm learning way too many languages, and I don't know which one, which expression makes sense in whatever language. Anyway, it didn't happen again. But anyway, maybe next time I will try to demo these and do this. But anyway, this is what that changes. So I didn't manage. There's something wrong here. It's too much light changes. Not too much, but anyway. So okay, this is what you need. You need the DOM ID there, and let me see what happens here. And then here is where your index page starts that WebSocket. This is what you need to put in the index. So the index establishes a WebSocket connection to the server. And then you see here, the only change from one to another is very simple. It's very simple, which is kind of the Rails way of kind of encapsulating and creating all this magic. If you never heard about WebSocket, like, oh my gosh, this is some Rails magic. No, it's just wrapping WebSocket and providing you a good, easy way to do those things. Anyway, that's it. Let me see what this is. Oh, that's that. I don't need to show that. Here's a little bit of my skeleton CSS. I have two very simple CSS files. And for me to style that, I kind of poke around this a little bit. And then, anyway, this is CSS styling. But anyway, you can see here the change that I did from the uninstalled to the styled version using skeleton CSS. Anyway, let's see what's it. And so this is it. That's kind of what I prepared. If you have any question or comments that does not include Docker, Kamau, or Capistrano, I'll be happy to try to answer. Any question? No, but I was planning today to do like a fly deploy and deploy these and let you guys, let's try to do it online. Can you guys guess what Rails? Oh, by the way, I used the latest. Which Rails version I used? I think I used Rails. Latest 7.1 and v323. Can you guess what database was using? So if you do Rails new now, the latest, the default is SQLite. So like, I'm not going to change to Postgres. Let's poke around and see it working on SQLite. All right. Anybody interested in trying these out? Does anybody want to try these step by steps? Not now. Okay, so if you're interested in trying these, I'm going to try to I'm going to try to flush it out a little bit more. These step by step. Here I kind of show you the strategy, the execution, what I try to do, and what I try to bring to you guys here today. But I think my idea was to, after you remember to go in to show these what you can do with Ruby on Rails in WebSocket. That Rails blog, it's something that is like, so Ruby is like 30 years old, Rails is almost 20 years old. That blog tutorial is like 15 years old. Those steps go back to the beginning of Rails. And then when I was like, okay, how am I going to use the new thing, right? Turbo, the new front end stuff, which is kind of been around for a year plus. Like, okay, that sounds like a good complementary from one another. And so that's kind of why I did the screencast that I showed you guys. That's kind of narrated by the famous DHH, whether he's our friend or not. So this one here is like a chat message, which is the most typical, maybe the most common way for you to. That's how he decided to demonstrate the Turbo. And it's an interesting one. It kind of goes, that's kind of the screencast that I followed to do one by one. Also, he goes into all these things that I was showing, the Turbo frames, then the streams, and he talks, our friend talks in more details about those things in 1.5 speed. But anyway, I recommend you guys check it out, and maybe I'll do that next time, or maybe I'll get into, I don't know, maybe Strata. I do not know yet. Any question, comments? All right. I hope you guys liked it. And let's go back to. All right. That's it. That's kind of what I plan to talk to you guys today. Hotwire et al. And now moving on to the Wi-Fi is coming. The Wi-Fi is coming. Oh my goodness, that's not it. Oh, my stream is connected?
Are you stream? Is your stream connected?
Yeah, it is.
You can probably plug in directly instead.
No. Oh, this one here disconnected.
No. Just plug in this one.
No, but I think it's streaming.
It's okay. It's still streaming.
Oh. The streaming is not through here? Okay, sure.
Might go. Yeah. Why no one is? Huh?
Is it on now? All right, you raise your hand. All right. There is one thing I want to share here. Let me kind of show you. There's another tab here. Here, this one. So let me kind of make it, not bigger like this. I'm gonna make it bigger like, oops, not that, bigger like this. All right, about a year ago, so this is GitLab. There's a couple of branches here, and I did some open source contribution to GitLab, and I started with this bundler audit update, bundler audit check, So I started like this. I was poking around GitLab. I was like, man, there's so many dependencies with CVE on GitLab, and it's like, I'm gonna submit a MR. So if you're into GitLab, you talk MR, not PR. So it's a merge request, a pull request. But anyway, about a year ago, I cleared all the CVEs in their repo, and now a year later, I don't think anybody fix the CVEs. But anyway, this is a little low-hanging fruit. If any of you guys want to start contributing to GitLab, you just make a tiny PR, MR, to just update Nokogiri, for example. It's very simple. It kind of is going to show you a little bit how you contribute to GitLab and so on and so forth, because they kind of need a little bit of help there. If you compare to our friends at Mastodon, right? So I did a Git pull earlier today. Oh yeah, oh my gosh, they have a bunch of stuff. So if you compare to our bundle install, if you compare with Mastodon, let me see, what is that? Rubocop. Oh, look at that! They updated RAM. These gem is getting some CVEs, and you can see that here on GitLab. If you compare that to these guys, they are clean. So, and also, have you guys heard about Foreign?
Yeah.
Foreign. Oh man, it didn't zoom in all my sections. Only one of them. That's I don't like it. They are good. They probably need help, but they're good. Let's see. I just got a few things. Bundler audit update. I'm just kidding. Bundler audit check. So they're good. I checked that today. But anyway, about a year ago, I started poke around GitLab, and I noticed that. And maybe if I have time, I don't know, after the summer vacation, there's some stuff here. Maybe I'll get some of these stuff. I got into the GitLab passkeys stuff as well. I did a little bit of work there for GitLab, and I also gave a talk at RubyConf Taiwan and Thailand about passkeys, and it was a little bit of some of the work that I did on the GitLab as well. I use GitLab as the example for the passkeys. But they did like a major. So I did had one MR to put passkeys on GitLab. How many people here know what passkeys is? Okay, passkey is like the finger thing, right? So like these SP. Have you guys heard about SPKM? That's one of the demos that I did. But this is passkeys, right? So you sign in. Let me see, it's still working. Oh yeah, it is working. So always for this side. So basically oh my gosh. There we go. Now it is. So passkeys is a way for authenticating without password. You use the fingerprint in your Mac or Face ID in your screen. So here basically you can use your finger and then you authenticate with that. And it's a lot more secure, intuitive, easy to use than passwords. So GitLab, they had some passkeys for 2FA. Use passkeys to do a 2FA. So you log in with your password and then you do a 2FA with your passkeys. And so I managed to kind of tweak around some of the code. It was really interesting because all their infrastructure, all the code was so well done that building passkeys to be your primary authentication, it was like I didn't have to touch any of the passkeys code that they have. I just need to mess around a little bit with the views. But then there was some other problems there that couldn't go forward. So the MR was closed, and then they started a long product development effort to see how, as a GitLab, they want to support passkeys as the primary authentication. It was really interesting, but it was the product team at GitLab doing that. And it took like a month or two for them to go through all the process, user interview, and so on and so forth. And and then when they go, okay, that's how we want, that's how the product team say, hey, development team, that's how you want from the product standpoint. And then I don't know what happened, but they still don't have passkeys there. So I'm mentioning these because I got an email, I don't know, this week or Friday, over the weekend, someone was asking the product team a passkeys that I was following along a little bit from my corner of the internet. Hey, what is the status of passkeys? So they did a lot of work on the product side, but I don't know, never got priority to implement passkeys on GitLab. But anyway, that's kind of the two things GitLab related that I don't know, maybe I'll be talking about in the next meetup. If none of you guys want to come talk and share something with us. Anyway, any question on parking lot, on all those things that I talked to you guys? Does that interest anybody? Yeah, and it's very simple. That's how my first contribution to GitLab was that. I think they had like Puma. Let me see. They have Puma had CVE. Oh my gosh, I need to find. Okay, community forums. Puma, Nokogiri, URI. One of the talks that I gave it here at the Ruby. Okay, MRs. Let me see. Oh, there you go, merged. So these are these are the mine. Let me see. Let me see if these are mine. No, these are dots. No, these are not mine. So oh no, I think anyway, GitLab has this community fork that GitLab. So anyway, I did some. I think the first MI that I did there was this. Anyway, it's a small low hanging fruit. But I mean, setting up GitLab on your developed machine is kind of a little bit of a beast. It's a big repo. So, but anyway, that's an interesting thing. Anyway, if you want to poke around that, let me know. I can help you if you have any, if you run into any issues. All right, that's it, guys, and I hope to see you guys not next month, the month after. All right. Okay. So now I need to. Oh, let me see if somebody. No, nobody. I'm sorry. Ask any questions on the online, right? Let me see what is the issue. Oh, hide it. I don't know. I don't know what that is, but it doesn't look like anybody asking any question online. All right, I'm gonna end the stream.